Ask the Expert with Brenda Hollingsworth from Auger Hollingsworth. And we're going to be talking, well, we have been talking about the fact that most of these cases don't go to court. Only 4% you mentioned earlier, and I think that's because of how much you can, a lot of it as well as how much you can tell really from the scene.
Yeah.
So you gave me an interesting stat. If you're looking at ballpark 250 cases a year, how many times is it in dispute about who's at fault
like
here?
fewer than 10.
Okay.
So, we probably, when there's a dispute about how the accident happened, what our firm does is we hire an accident reconstruction expert. This is an engineer who will look at all of the evidence that's available and will see if he can draw some conclusions about how the accident actually happened based on the stories that the people tell and also the objective evidence and any witness evidence. So, do we do that 5 or 6 times a year? Probably, but not more than that. So usually the issue is how much, not pay or not pay.
And how much does a police report play into it? I know that sometimes you call the police and they're busy and you just move off to the side. But sometimes if it's a big enough collision, they are on the scene and you end up with a police report.
Yeah, if it's a very serious accident, they usually do a very serious report that can take up to a year to get, and that is certainly considered. They do measurements. They look for things that disappear, like skid marks, that kind of thing. Typically, they don't use an engineer, though. So I tend to prefer my reports to the police report. But yeah, I mean, they're certainly a factor.
I know that we see on YouTube all the time these dashboard cams, a lot in Eastern Europe, because I think insurance fraud's a big concern there. Do you anticipate an increase in these, and would they be really helpful, or do you have enough information already?
Most of the time we have enough information. I mean, I think people love gimmicks, so I think it'll happen. But I don't think it'll make a fundamental difference. I mean, unless these are very high quality cameras, I don't think it'll make a fundamental difference in certainly my practice, because, as I say, there's not a lot of dispute about what happened in most of my accidents.
Not to mention you're only seeing a very narrow field of vision frontwards, and that's usually where your eyes are, and that's hardly ever where it happens unless you're at fault.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you might catch yourself rear-ending somebody.
Right,
yeah.
And that's subpoenable. Subpoenaable. Is that a word?
I don't know if that's a word, but yeah, you would probably have to produce that if you were ordered to.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so think twice, maybe, or before you do that.
Yeah, you don't want to be the first one with one anyway.
There you go. Okay, so really, if you're looking at moving forward with a problem, whether it be personal injury from a fall, slip fall, collision on the roads where it's someone else's fault or you're fairly sure you are, the worry about having to be on the stand in front of a group of people is one that is not found in a lot of fact.
That's right. And so there's lots of opportunities to settle. So before we ever issue a lawsuit, we have an opportunity to settle with the insurance adjuster directly. Now, that's only if you come to us soon enough. If you come to us on the day before the limitation period, there's no option but a lawsuit. But if you come to us sort of 6 weeks after your case, we have lots of time to gather information, and where it's appropriate, we often settle directly with the insurance company. There's no lawsuit, there's no nothing. You just settle and get your check, and people are very happy when that's possible.
Okay, so you end up really just being a representative at that point to say, I understand how the world works, the world of insurance works, and I'm just calling it to attention, just getting the insurance company to take a look at some facts that they may have overlooked.
Well, we make a proposal. We do research. We make a proposal. We set out the facts. We provide them with records and evidence, and we make the pitch. And we negotiate it for them, and that works a lot of the time. The other thing is, after a lawsuit, there's often a time before the other side hires a lawyer. There's often a time to negotiate. And we settle a lot of cases then. And then there's mandatory mediation in Ottawa. So every case that's filed with the court has to go through a mediation process. And I would say 50% of cases settle at mediation. And then there's a pretrial where a judge tries to settle the case. And a very large number of cases settle there.
If you get to that point.
If you get to that point. And then after that, when you're ticking away till trial, that's when, the most stubborn parties sharpen their pencils, and a lot of cases get settled then.
That's very interesting. So just a good idea to know that probably the sooner you get on the phone, number one there, the easier everything's going to go.
Absolutely. That's true.
Number two, insurance companies aren't going to come forward on your behalf. Like hardly ever, right?
No, if they're aware of your claim, there may be a point where they have sort of monitored it and want to close the file, and you may get a call just before the 2-year mark. Oh, would you like $5,000? If you get that call, you probably have a good case. Okay. So go call a personal injury lawyer because you probably have a good case.
AskBrenda.ca. OJ Hollingsworth, Brenda Hollingsworth, thank you so much once again with Ask the Experts. There's how you get a hold of them. We're back in a moment on CTV Morning Live.